Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And today I'm going to be making some more of my mixed spice blend. And I thought it would be a good idea to just update you on this, and especially since we're getting into that time of the year, that these kind of spices being used in various things are really important because they help our bodies to fight flus and colds as they come around. So I am going to be making a smaller batch than I normally would today because I actually already did the other day make up a big batch, and after I got it made I remembered, oh dang, I was going to shoot a video and I totally spaced it. So I'll just be making a small batch. I could make another whole quart jar, but I'm just going to stick to a smaller batch today, and I'll of course be working through that first. So let's get started and I'll show you what I do and talk about some of the options that you can do with this. So I'll be working in parts to help break it down. I typically do not measure out my ingredients. I just kind of eyeball it and add them as I go, but to help give you a better idea of what you can base your own recipe off of, because I'm going to assume you're not going to you may not want to do it exactly the way I do, because it's going to be all about your taste, what you like best, what you may be allergic to or not allergic to, and those kind of things. So my first ingredient is Ceylon Cinnamon, and so I'm going to use the most of this. And we love cinnamon here, and so I'm only going to try to make about a cup of this today. So I'm going to be starting with 2 parts of the Ceylon Cinnamon. So today that's just going to be 1/4 cup because I got a lot of stuff to add to this. So as you can see, I'm adding this to a quart-sized jar. If you're going to be making a bigger batch, like doing a whole quart jar, you're going to want to quadruple what I'm doing here and then add it to a 1/2 gallon jar at least. Okay, so now Ceylon cinnamon and stuff like this is really important because avoiding the cassia cinnamon for the most part, because when you're talking about wanting to get lots of cinnamon in your diet, it can be very good for you. It's really good for helping to fight colds and flus and prevent them, but you want to go with the Ceylon cinnamon in this case because because cassia cinnamon, which you may not realize there's a difference, cassia cinnamon is the one that you will find most commonly, and it may not even be labeled as such. If it just says cinnamon, likely it's cassia cinnamon. Now I'm afraid it gets a little bit too much of a bad rap. I'm not going to say it's all bad. It does have some of its own health properties that may not be found in your Ceylon cinnamon. However, you have to be careful about the amounts when it comes to cassia cinnamon. Too much can cause liver damage and other health issues. So look into that and find out what you use. If you're real light-handed on your cinnamon anyway, I think the cassia cinnamon is going to be just fine. But I still highly recommend the true cinnamon, which is your Ceylon cinnamon. That is spelled Ceylon, Ceylon cinnamon. And so I will link to the one I use down below. And what I did with all the cassia cinnamon that I had once I learned this is I actually used it in my garden to help prevent pests, at least in the greenhouse. It's pretty much useless to use outside where it rains all the time. But in the greenhouse, it did help cut down on certain pests around my plants. So there's an idea for you on if you're wanting to just get rid of that cassia cinnamon, don't throw it out. It does have a use, even if you don't want to use it in your body. Okay, so my next ingredient is going to be cloves. So the next 4 ingredients I'm using here, I'm going to do 1 part. So because of that, I'm going to do only an 1/8 cup. If I was doing this in a bigger amount, I would be using a 1/2 cup of this. A 1/2 cup to 1 cup of cinnamon. So just an 1/8 cup of the ground cloves. And then next will be the ginger. Ginger, just really, really great. So make sure that whatever spices you're getting, you're looking at getting the high quality, a good organic. I will link to all the ones I use below. Typically, I'm using Frontier or Star West brands, and I get them, most of them, through the Subscribe and Save program on Amazon. So you can check out those links down below. And then nutmeg is recommended. However, one thing about nutmeg is once it's been ground, it starts to lose some of its benefits and properties, but I still have ground nutmeg, and I love nutmeg, and I want to get this used up anyway. But you can this is something you can choose to just grind fresh as you're using it rather than adding it to your mixed spice blend. But if you already have it ground, go ahead and add it in there. Again, as long as you don't have any allergies to any of these, or your family for that matter. And then another one is, this isn't a spice, this is simply organic orange peel. So I'll buy the organic oranges, and then I like to get the organic ones even though they're considered clean. But I get the organic because if I plan on using the peel, that's the part that's going to have most of the pesticides in it and stuff. So I choose organic when I know I'm going to be dehydrating up the peels for things like this. And so I just dry them either right on my wood stove or in my electric dehydrator, and then I powder them up in the blender. And so I'm going to put in an 1/8 cup of that. And so again, I'm just making a real small amount. Now, an added ingredient that's going to be definitely based on your allergies or how much spice you like is the cayenne pepper. And I love to add cayenne pepper to mine. And usually I'll just do about a 0.5 part on that, you know, just to keep it from getting too spicy. You can, you know, since I use this for all of us, I could handle going higher on that, but some things I don't want as much spice in, and so I like to keep it neutral. I can always add, or somewhat neutral, I can always add more cayenne pepper to the various things I'm using my mixed spice blend in. Now, a couple other options you may want to consider is the organic lemon peel, but it can have a tendency to get a little bit more bitter than the orange, but just something you might want to consider. Or getting some allspice and then grinding it up. Again, allspice is one of those things that's better to grind up as you use it, or you know, as soon as you're ready to use it, rather than having it pre-ground as it is in this case. So you can see it's just a little bit here. And then all you need to do, and this is why it's nice having a jar like this, is you just simply shake it. So I could have made twice that much and mixed it in this jar easily enough, but because I already have quite a bit mixed up, because when I made this, I ended up with more than what filled this jar, so I already have extra as it is. And here's that extra I was talking about. I'll just go ahead and add it to that jar right there. And that should top it right off. Yep, and I was correct. And there we go. And then I recommend putting an airtight lid on it, so you can take like a peanut butter jar lid or the ball lids like this and simply slip inside a canning lid like this. Now the peanut butter lids, it doesn't come out as easy, so when you go to clean it, it can be a little problematic trying to get this back out without bending it. But inside the ball lids, it fits nicely and it comes out easier, so you might want to consider that. Now another idea is getting these leak-proof lids. I'm really liking these, but I have to say they're not entirely leak-proof. They're definitely better than the white ones that Ball makes, but these do still leak a little bit. But because they're better than the white ones, they're going to be a little more airtight. But since they still leak a little bit, that means they're not entirely airtight. So you can do the same thing there, slip a lid like that inside there, or you can buy the silicone liners. But this is just a great way to recycle some of your metal lids that you may not want to reuse for canning. Now let's talk a little bit about some of the ways that you can use the mixed spice blend, and I'll be talking about this more in some upcoming videos as well. But I like to add mine quite a bit to my teas, especially, let's say, one night I made a peppermint tea or whatever. I didn't drink it all, and so then the next day I'll add more water to it because I'll make it in a big pot, and then I'll just add the mixed spice blend to that to give it more flavor, and then go ahead and try to get that used up through the day. And then the other thing it goes in is it's one of the ingredients in my jet fueled latte blend. This is typically what I like to have in the morning. I kind of switch back and forth between just plain black coffee or having my jet fueled latte blend. I'll go ahead and link to the recipe up here and also in the description box down below if you'd like to check it out. But this is a really great coffee replacement. And again, one of those recipes that you can kind of tweak it and suit it to fit your needs. But a really great way to replace the caffeine. And also if you have any kind of thyroid issues, especially a low functioning thyroid, then I recommend this because it's going to help give your thyroid a boost. And it was one of the things that we did to help get ourselves off the medication that we've been off now for about 8 years. Other options are that you can, you know, if you still like having your black coffee in the morning, and I do this from time to time too, I will put a pinch of this directly into my cup of black coffee. Really good in that. And also in cocoa, like if you really like to have just a cup of cocoa and you want it spicy, this is also a really great addition to your cocoa. And just a few examples of ways that you can get more of these really great spices into your diet on a daily basis, especially this time of year with all the colds and flus running rampant, everybody getting ill. And remember, it's not that the viruses are out there more intense than they are any other time of the year. It's that people's immunities are lower this time of year because of less sunlight exposure and diets. Diets will play a really big part in that. So, and I think that's also why though we tend to crave these kind of spices like this more at this time of the year, because our body knows that we need them. Oh, and one more thing that I just remembered is these are the very same kind of spices that are really great for adding to your elderberry syrups and other cough, cold, and flu remedies. And I do have a video on an elderberry syrup I made. I haven't watched it in a while and I tend to change things up, but I'll go ahead and link to that up here and down below if you'd like to check it out. And what I would like you to do is, if you already use spices like this, whether it be in the mixed spice form like I have here, the pre-mixed form, or individually, what spices do you use and how do you use them and how do you get them into your diet on a more daily basis, especially at this time of the year, so that we can all get more great ideas to help us practice these ways of cold and flu prevention. All right, well, thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.